The Maryland Department of Health, Developmental Disabilities Administration, Self-Directed Services Training Series, Module 6, Hiring and Managing Employees, updated May 2025. This training module will provide you with an overview of hiring and managing employees under the Self-Directed Services model. This training is a summary with important information on this topic. More information and requirements are found in the Medicaid Waiver Program applications, laws, regulations, guidance, and policies. The most updated information regarding self-directed services is published in the Self-Directed Services Policy and Manual that can be found on the DDA's website. Additional training modules are available that provide additional information on the topics presented in this overview training module. Employer planning tools. Participants who self-direct their services may want to create tools to help them plan for hiring and managing their employees. Support brokers can support the participant with preparing to hire and manage employees through tools if requested by the participant. Using these tools is considered a best practice, but is not required. Participants can consider the following tools to support them in planning to hire and manage employees. Job positions, job descriptions, recruitment plans, new hire letters, employee handbooks, and evaluations. Job positions. While the participant is planning for the upcoming year, they need to determine who will provide the Medicaid waiver services in their person-centered plan. Some Medicaid waiver services can be provided by employees that work directly for the participant. Job positions can help support the participant to think about the ways that an employee could provide support within the scope of the Medicaid waiver service. Job positions should not be created to serve the needs of the employee, but to serve the needs of the participant employer. When a participant chooses to hire employees, job positions help participants see exactly what support the employee will provide. Job positions include the specific title the employee will hold. The title should be related to the Medicaid waiver service the employee will provide. For example, a job position for an employee providing personal support services may be a personal support assistant or a personal support direct support professional. The job title is always determined by the participant employer. The job position should also include the total number of hours per week the job requires. It should also include whether or not the position is full-time, which is between 30 and 40 hours per week as defined by the employer, or part-time, which is less than 30 hours per week. The job position should also note any benefits that would be offered to an employee holding that position. These benefits can include paid time off, health insurance benefits, mileage reimbursement, paid training time, training reimbursement, and holiday pay. Finally, the job position should include the amount of money that a new employee starting in the position would earn per hour. Employees may hold more than one position for a participant. However, employees are subject to overtime law and Medicaid waiver requirements regarding overtime for any hours worked over 40 hours per week. When employees hold more than one position for an employer, timesheets and benefits can become more complex. Each job position should also have a written job description. Job descriptions are a detailed description of the job. Just like positions, job descriptions are written to clearly describe what the person needs, not what a specific employee can provide. When job descriptions are detailed and specific, participant employers are more successful in finding employees that will meet their needs. Job descriptions can include the Medicaid waiver service the employee will provide, the employee's work schedule, a summary of the job that is performed, a list of duties and responsibilities of the job, within the scope of the Medicaid waiver service. Job descriptions can also include any required skills and abilities, education or experience requirements, training requirements, and physical requirements. Recruitment plans. Participants can consider creating recruitment plans for the employees they will hire. Participants, family, friends and social network, support brokers, and other team members can also support participants to find employees. During the person-centered planning process, the support broker can support the participant to create and update their recruitment plan for each job position. The job position details and job description. The job position details and job description are helpful in developing a recruitment plan for each position. Recruitment plans can include an employee schedule, a list of desired supports, skills, personality characteristics, and shared interests, written advertisement for the position, a list of where the advertisement will be posted, a list of screening questions, and a list of interview questions. New hire letters. New hire letters make sure that the participant is in control of the hiring process. A new hire letter is a letter that is sent to a newly hired employee of the participant. New hire letters start the employee-employer relationship with clarity on what is required of both the employer and the employee. New hire letters can include the following parts: the specific job title or position that the employee has been hired for, a projected start date for the employee, with notes about requirements to begin work, such as training, criminal background checks, and clearance by the participant's financial management and counseling services provider. The rate of pay per hour, full-time or part-time status, a notice regarding at-will employment. Maryland is considered an at-will employment state, which means that employers can hire or terminate employees for almost any reason, or no reason at all, unless there is a contract, agreement, or policy in place that prevents this. It is important to note that support brokers are not ever allowed to offer employment on behalf of the participant. Only the participant or their designated representative can hire an employee. Employee handbooks are important documents that can be created during the person-centered planning process. The creation of a handbook helps the participant consider what they need in order to be a good employer. Completing a handbook during planning can be important for budgeting. We will discuss budgeting in a later section. Because the participant has employer authority and is the employer of record, employee handbooks are important tools that describe the employer's expectation for their employees. Employer handbooks developed within the Medicaid waiver program requirements can help employees find information about their job. The policies in handbooks developed within the Medicaid waiver program requirements provide clear expectations on how the employee should do their work and what they can expect to be paid. When expectations are clear, employers and employees can have a better relationship. These of a participant's employee handbook should be determined by the participant and within the scope of the Medicaid waiver program, policies, and guidance. Potential policies can include employee benefits, such as paid time off, health insurance, mileage reimbursement, training hours and cost, and holiday pay. Potential policies can also include employee evaluations, employee expectations and discipline, and inclement weather. Just as the rest of the person-centered plan, the participant is in charge of all employee policies within the scope of the Medicaid Waiver Program, policies and guidance. Each year, as the participant continues to self-direct their Medicaid waiver services, updates to the handbook can be made during the person-centered planning process. It is important that the participant knows what they want to offer their employees and what they expect from their employees. The participant and their team can draft an outline of the handbook with the participant during a meeting where these topics are discussed. It is always best practice to meet as a team to finalize an employee handbook. Here we have a sample outline for an employee handbook. The participant can provide employees with a welcome letter, a table of contents, employment policies chosen by the participant, and an employee acknowledgement that the employee has reviewed the handbook. Performance Evaluations Rubric. It is best practice for a participant who self-directs their services to conduct performance reviews on their employees regularly. Support brokers can help the participant to complete the employee performance reviews. Performance reviews make sure employees are meeting the requirements that are listed in their job descriptions. A performance rubric includes the key goals of an employee's job and separates them into categories. Employees are then rated on how well they are meeting each objective. A common rating system is a 5-point scale, with a score of 1 meaning a bad performance and a score of 5 meaning a great performance. It is best practice for participants to plan to conduct performance reviews on their employees in a planned, regular way. This can be outlined in the employee handbook so that all employees understand what to expect. It is very common for employers to make a performance review after 90 days of employment and then twice every year afterwards. Rubrics for these reviews can support the participant to make sure evaluations are fair across employees. Support brokers can help draft, edit, and use these performance rubrics. Positive performance. Participants experience better services and employee retention when positive performance is rewarded. Fair and equitable raises can be given to employees within the participant's overall budget and the established reasonable and customary rates for Medicaid waiver program services. Increases to benefits can also be given to employees in a fair and equitable way. Support brokers can support participants to provide rewards for positive performance. It is best practice for the employer to offer the reward in writing with a clear effective date. It is important to note that the financial management and counseling services providers cannot process raises for dates in the past. Negative performance. Participants experience better services when employees receive good, helpful feedback when there is negative performance. Talking about performance offers clarity to employees. Participants must be fair and equitable with their employees. Participants are required to follow employment laws about fairness and equity in employment. Support brokers can support participants in the best practice of sharing negative feedback in writing. Participants may need to decrease employee pay rates. Maryland law requires employers to alert employees of wage decreases at least one pay period in advance. Best practice is to alert the employee in writing as soon as the participant knows a rate decrease will happen. Resignations. Sometimes a participant's employee may choose to resign from their position. Support brokers can support this process by ensuring the participant requests that the employee shares the resignation in writing. Support brokers can support this process by ensuring that the resignation is shared with the participant's coordinator of community services and financial management and counseling services provider. Terminations. If a participant chooses to terminate an employee, team members can support them to make sure that the termination is clear. It is important to note that support brokers and other team members cannot terminate an employee for the participant. It is best practice for the participant to alert the employee of their termination in person. The support broker or other team member can be in attendance for support. However, the participant must be the one to terminate the employee. It is best practice for the participant to submit a termination letter to the employee with their team support as needed. Termination letters make sure that the participant is in control of the termination process. Slide has a list of resources available. Summary. Participants who self-direct their services may want to create tools to help them plan for hiring and managing their employees. Anyone in the team can support the participant to create these planning tools, including the support broker. New hire letters, job positions, job descriptions, recruitment plans, employee handbooks, and employee evaluations all help to make sure the participant is directing and managing all of their employees. This is the end of Module 6.